you did not know anyone was going to kill Kirby that night.
No, I did not.
Yet you were arrested a year later and charged with his murder, right?
Correct.
I want to talk a little bit about Kirby. I know it's not fair, because I know a lot of bad things have been said about him after his death, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you understand this is a murder trial, and we have to get every detail out, right?
Correct.
So you guys met early 2020, moved in about the summertime of 2020.
Correct.
You're in love?
Yes.
And that's what I get from your testimony is you guys certainly had ups and downs. You had fights, all of that, right?
Correct.
At the end of the day, you loved Kirby.
Correct.
The day he was killed, you loved Kirby.
Correct.
And I like how you put it when you were giving that statement to Tammy Hall. You kind of described it as there being a Kirby number 1 and a Kirby number 2, right?
Correct.
And the Kirby number 1 was the one you fell in love with, right?
Yes.
That was the one who was caring, who was fun, who was into music, who loved his son and y'all's daughter, right?
Correct.
And then you also talked about the Kirby number 2, and sometimes Kirby number 2 would come out, right?
Right.
And that would be the one who could be emotionally abusive sometimes, right?
Yes.
Sometimes he could ignore your texts and calls for days, right?
Correct.
You wouldn't know when he was coming home, what he was doing, or who he was with, right?
Correct.
I think there's conversations both-sided where both of you are accusing each other of being, he's accusing you of being with other men, you're accusing him of being with other women, things, jealousy type of things, right?
Correct.
And I have to ask, but on at least a few occasions, you would walk out of the house with black eye or a busted lip or something like that, right?
Yes.
That wasn't like an everyday thing, right?
No.
I mean, that was like a few times in your relationship you would experience the lowest of lows, you and Kirby, right?
Correct.
And it was it one-sided where you're always the victim, or is it kind of both of you? And I don't mean the physical abuse, but I mean the going back and forth, the fighting. I mean it isn't like Kirby's mean and you were the perfect girlfriend or mother, right?
No, I'm not I'm human. There was our relationship changed throughout the course of our relationship, and initially I was much more the early stage when we're very passionate, so you had some jealousy things or situations like that. By the end, I just learned Kirby.
You loved him for who he was.
I loved him for who he was, and in argument wise, I knew to shut down or get away. So we didn't throw. I never threw a pot at him. Let's say, like in that kind of way. We didn't have arguments like that by the end. They were just intense.
Is it fair to say that if you would have an intense argument, y'all would be mad at each other, instead of having this big blow up, it would more be like you needed a lot of time apart, you weren't texting each other, or it was one-sided and one of you was ignoring the other. Is that fair to say?
Yes, sure.
Now Kirby, we've heard a lot. He was driving all over town and beyond, just buying things and selling things, right?
Correct,
He was very good at that.
correct.
He was very, very good at that, right?
He always came out on top, yes, he was very
Yes.
good at that. Always made money.
Now he was, and it wasn't, we've talked a lot about these coins and silver, gold, all of that stuff, because he was really into that stuff, right?
Yes,
But it wasn't just that. I mean, he was into just about anything, right? I mean, like furniture, cars, anything
anything
that could be
Kirby
bought.
could make money off, there was, yeah, anything like that. He was very good at that.
I think Kirby did not use drugs, right? And I don't mean marijuana. I mean like actual drugs. And I don't mean in the past. I mean from the time you were with him, was he ever on any like hard drugs, like meth or pills or anything like that?
I never saw Kirby take drugs while I was with him, no.
He did drink often, right?
Yes,
Every night.
most nights,
Sometimes he'd drink too much.
most, yes.
Is that when most of the fights or arguments would happen, in your opinion?
Percentage-wise, actually, no.
Right. So I mean, you guys.
When he would get drunk, he would get talkative normally, and grandiosa, more like that.
And as far as I can tell, there was, because it's weird for me. This is the first time I've ever met you, is today, right?
Correct.
But I've read maybe all of your text messages that were recovered. As far as I can tell, let me know if this is true. During you and Kirby's relationship, there was only one really big blow-up fight that I can see when it looked like you were going to move out of the house and you guys were going to break up. You remember that?
I remember fights around that, yes.
I mean, was there a fight where Jeff came down with under the belief that he was going to help you pack your stuff and move out of Kirby's house?
Oh, yes.
And I think that was long before you were pregnant, right?
That was our first big blow up, yes. That was
And that was the one where Kendall Stevens had to get a trailer and take it to Kirby's house with the expectation that your stuff was going to go on that trailer to leave, right? You don't have to agree with me. This is just what I've read.
well, there was two other times that when Dad came down the first time, I left for about a week, and I wasn't really even moved in then. The second and third time, yes, I had friends that came to move me out. So I 3 times I moved out or left for a significant amount of time.
Was this more in the beginning of your, like, I'll just say a year before his death, did any of those big fights happen that you can remember? I mean, ones
Not-
where you're like, I'm leaving.
Maybe like a year and a half. I left for a month, and he was very good at getting me to come home. I always came home. Our last big fight, I didn't move out. That was when he got the most physical with me, and I carried the evidence through the holidays.
Let's talk a little bit more about Kirby's dealings. I think right before his death, he had bought some diamonds from somebody in Memphis that turned out to be fake, right?
Right,
And I think he paid like several $1,000s for those diamonds.
correct.